All right, so we got Candace Owens now. Candace Owens is a political personality, conservative. She used to be a liberal, but she's one of the few like black young candidates. I mean, black young, personalities in politics. She has a really, really big following. She's been around for a very, very, very long time. She used to be a liberal. And she grew up actually poor. So she's actually a poor black girl. She grew up in a poor family, but now a lot of the black people disown her because they try to like Uncle Tom her, or they try to like make it seem like she's so far disconnected from black people, but always has strong views on black people. But this is a good conversation that she had about how music is kind of demoralizing the culture and like ruining our generation. And she also talks a little bit about Jay-Z, etc. She has big points on Sexyy Red and Ice Spice, and she's just against a lot of the stuff that's happening with the music industry and a lot of the influencers from the music standpoint and the people who are behind the musicians making this music thing pop.
How do you feel about your culture and what they do with music?
I think it's a part of it. It's a part, and I've talked about this on my show. Who owns these record label companies? Who signs a Sexyy Red? You can go out and you can get any artist in the world based on their talent. Why is it that when you come to Black America, you want to platform someone like Sexyy Red when it used to be you platform people like Lauryn Hill? This is intentional. This is intentional because, as Confucius said, Chinese philosopher said that, what is in your ears will eventually be what surrounds you, right? Music is very powerful.
Yeah. I heard a saying that music doesn't need an invitation to your soul.
That's a great way of saying
into it.
Yeah, and
you are who you hang out with, but if you're just listening to it all the time, and I always got confused. I could never have said it because I'm not black, but if I had an Assyrian culture and all they did was make money off of belittling my people, I would not pay money for it. I'd be like, yo, what are you doing? You switch sides on us. Like, why would you make it out, quote, and then shit where you came from? Why don't you come grab us and like build us out? Do you ever get scared of speaking the way you speak?
No. I feel very comfortable speaking the way I speak because I'm Team God, right? So yeah, if God has you, who can be against you? You know what I mean?
Amen.
And so yeah, I am very confident in what I say, and I take obviously a beating from the artists who I believe, just like you said, have turned their back on Black America, because I don't fault these artists. Like, I grew up listening to Jay-Z. I would say Jay-Z and Kanye probably had the biggest influence on me, and there's a lot in Jay-Z's music that I'm so grateful for because he made it clear on how to move in a business room, I would say.
Yeah.
So many of his lyrics talking about, this is how I think about it when they want me to do their shows. Like, how are they benefiting off of me, my brand? He's thinking like a boss. But then he gets up on stage and him and his wife tell people to vote for Hillary Clinton. I know Jay-Z is smart enough to know that's wrong. I know he's smart enough to know that's wrong because I listened to the DNA of his music. So if you got out, why don't you tell other people how to get out? And that's when I lost respect for Jay-Z, and it is what made me gain more respect for Kanye, because he is willing to say stuff that makes him unfavorable in Hollywood, where I think Jay-Z really cares about what Hollywood thinks about him. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Jay-Z, unbelievably talented, can't deny it. Beyonce, unbelievably talented, can't deny it. Kanye West, I would say a genius, can't deny it. Unfortunately, you stood on someone who is very up and down with what he says. Does that not, like, if I had a teammate that just kept going back and forth, it's kind of hard to like stand out. And like, let me give you an example. My mom and dad would come up to me and they'd be like, hey, if you're voting for Trump, don't talk about that. And I was like, damn, we got to a place where it's hard to even voice what you're voting for or what you're siding with. And then I realized that my mom was trying to teach me a lesson. Be careful on who you stamp your name on, because now how they act or how they portray themselves or any of that is going to reflect you, because people are going to be like, well, you signed off on this man. So how do you sign off on a man who stands on a car and says, yo, Jesus is coming, you got to be about good things, all this stuff, but then I'm a sick fuck, I like a quick fuck the next day? You could see when Kanye has his eyes on Christ, and then you could see it when he's like, oh, I need to get these numbers up or stuff like that.
So I think the single most important thing that Kanye has told about himself publicly, which weighs into my mind when he makes music like that, is that he's addicted to pornography. He's talked about that. It's a huge societal ill. Like, it's not something that men normally talk about, like being addicted to pornography, being addicted to sex, talking about how he felt like he was introduced to pornography too early, right? And so when, in my view, I think that is an addiction and a battle that lives with him, and has come out in his music at certain times. I can't listen to that music. I do not listen to that music. I do not.
Doesn't that make it worse if you don't mind me asking?
No, but I'm very honest about the fact that I don't listen to pornographic lyrics.
No, not you. But like,
I can't listen to pornographic.
Come on, Candace, what are you doing?
And it's funny because it means that I've really raised my frequency because I can't hear it. It makes me cringe. I used to listen to it when I was young. It didn't impact me.
But now you woke up,
but
and you're
now
like,
that I've woken
I can hear the programming,
and I've realized how important it is what you put into your ears. I quite literally cannot listen to that kind of music. It does something to my soul.
But so my question is, now that you know that, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? You're young enough for me to ask that.
34. 34. You can always ask me. I don't live by that rule. If I'm 65, I'll be like, I'm 65.
So you're 34 years old, but you seem to be like, from my POV of just meeting you, but seems like if you learn it, I got it, move on. So how could you work alongside somebody who just said, hey, I'm addicted to pornography. It ruined my marriage.
That's brave.
But then he goes back to teaching kids to do that shit.
That's how addiction works. Right. So for me,
but it's different.
I'm not,
it's different
if I was
if you're staying in the studio for hours.
No.
That's
listen,
like days of work.
This is a conversation you got to have with Kanye. I don't listen to that music. I don't promote that music. And if I'm standing next to Kanye for something that he is saying and being honest about, I am co-signing what he is saying and doing. So when he put on the MAGA hat, it was a very significant moment for Black America.
Huge.
You do not have to vote Democrat.
He lost a lot of fans.
He lost so many fans for saying that.
But he gained too, so that's good.
Right. And so that never been done. You never could have seen that. Rappers just know, even if they're saying it privately that they like Trump, they would have never, ever, ever said that and been honest about that until Kanye took all of the bullets for being like, you have another option, Black America. And I commend that bravery.
Got it.
Right. If I was sitting next to him or in that video, then you could talk to me about that. Yeah. Candace, do you accept? No, I don't like that kind of music at all.
So you're good at picking and choosing what?
Well, yeah, and not, I mean, do you know his music? The majority of his, like when we're talking about, all the way from his early days all through now, like, yes, he has a lot of, especially on this recent album, there's one song that's really great. The lyrics are too pornographic. For me, personally, Carnival is just way too pornographic. People can take that if they want to, but on me, in terms of what I talk about on my platform, I'm not going to promote, pornography. I tell people that what you put in your ears is what you will put in your heart. But I also know that if I was me when I was 15, I wouldn't be listening to Candace at 34 because I was listening to that music, Got it. So people are complicated. They're absolutely complicated, but I can't be meant to answer for Kanye's addictions, Kanye's afflictions, Kanye's convictions, because I'm not Ye.
Got it. Hold the phone.
I find this very, very interesting, like the Kanye and Jay-Z dynamic. If you know the history of them coming up together in Rockefeller, Kanye West being what they call like the baby brother of the whole group. Kanye was just a backpack boy, make the beats, whatever the case may be. They didn't want to put his early albums out. They didn't take Kanye too serious. And, the whole Rockefeller dynamic where they once said everybody was supposed to be billionaires. It's funny how only Hov and Kanye became, the billionaires. But Ye speaking out on how to help Black people and change their mind, it also came across as like, it makes him look crazy because we're not used to people trying to give information, because all this knowledge that's out there, when you digest it, like, I always say, like, imagine the stuff we know about the basic level of manipulation. And there's people whose whole legacy, their campaigns, their the future of society are based off manipulating the people. So sometimes we can't even really fathom how far they will go to keep your mind suppressed and keep you away from understanding things that will really change the way you think about yourself. And the problem with the Black community is that we don't really know our history. Like, if you go, I always ask people in high school, have you ever learned about welfare? Like, has anybody ever taught you about that? Has anyone ever taught you about fatherless households in high school, like mass incarceration? I feel like mass incarceration became a talking point when that documentary 13th came out. I've never learned about mass incarceration. I never learned about why so many black people are in jail, like during my time period in high school. When I remember being in economics and we were talking about the crack epidemic, I called my teacher out. I said, yo, the CIA was helping fund that, the crack epidemic. Do you think that there were just a bunch of black dudes in a laboratory making crack cocaine? And they didn't even know. They had to look it up in the middle of the class. They paused the whole class to look it up, and I never forget. He was like, oh, he's actually right. Like, the CIA was involved in this. And I think that alone was a turning point in my teacher's mindset, that like, so the stuff they're producing to the kids is like, they don't even know. Like, my teacher probably didn't even know about the welfare state and when this decline started to happen. So who are they to teach our kids? So just think about it. Who writes the curriculums for these schools? Nobody even knows. Where are they coming from? Who can write these curriculums? So when you think about celebrities and, you know, the ones, I always think that when you think someone's super high, there's always someone that's super higher. It's kind of like when you're really good at your job, but you don't want to fuck it up and like say how you really feel to your boss because you don't want to get fired. Though like you just got a promotion, you're bigger than the person you started out from, but you don't really want to fuck around and get fired. So you're not going to say too much, but you're going to say just enough. You're still going to follow those rules, even though you know you're the big dog around here. But there's always someone that's higher. And I think that Hollywood is a weird place. It's starting to become really weird. I mean, like even the other day with John Cena at the Oscars, and like we don't even know what to believe because there's always, now everyone has the opportunity to give their opinion. So we don't even know what's right from wrong. We can't really tell because this person could say it just as confident as a person who's trying to tell you the truth, but then there's a person who believes the other way. And that's also a good and bad thing because before, like, you can control the narrative so much more because not everybody had a platform. Now it's so much easier to build these followings because you can speak for multiple different areas and have multiple different opinions on things. So it's like people who love Kanye are like super diehard, love Kanye because it comes with that whole, you support Kanye? Well, that means you support Trump. That means you support this, and this. And you could just still like him for his music, but the political world has become so divided and so like you're over there and you're far over there. There's no middle, that your own family will cut you off. So I think that music does take a big part. And even me, I'm starting to not be able to listen to drill music. It's very popular in the New York area, but the vibration thing is almost like, I can't hear this gang. It's smoking on dead ops. And it's like, yo, bro, like you see these kids in the street, just like top of their lungs, like, it's like, it's almost like the NPCs, like on TikTok when people are just doing weird motions. It's like, yo, everyone is just boom and sturdy and gang and dead ops. And it's almost like evil. It's almost like evil that has been implanted in the minds through this music. You know, and it's like, who is giving these people all the money? Millions of dollars. Who's giving these people all the money to promote this violence that they know damn well their own children would listen to? It's kind of like Steve Jobs with the iPad. I wouldn't dare give my child an iPad. But you mass produce it for everyone else's children. So it's just very, very interesting. The times that we live in, and you had people who were drug dealers on the street start to get into the music game and tell their life story, tell their trauma. And then you had kids who saw that and wanted to be those people. So then you had the kids who are really doing that, glorifying it. You know what I'm saying? So, and now we live in that. We live in people's trauma, the trauma of having to shoot, rob, steal, and kill. We live in those traumas, and now their issues have become our personalities because what you put in your ear becomes who you are. But that's just my take on that, man. You guys let me know your thoughts.